welcome to our little newsletter video. This month I'm going to show you a new product that we just got in the store. It's fast, quick, easy, very effective, and makes a great gift. Hang it on the wall, do what you wish with it. So what it is pre-printed batting. Well, first of all, I'll show you. It's called Quilt As You Go, and this happens to be a package of mug mats, which is what those are. I've made a few samples. So what you get in the package is the batting that is pre-printed. Now I've cut this apart to make these samples. So the batting comes pre-printed, and these are permanent labels that go into each one of your little mug mats that you're going to make. So the package comes with the instructions on how to sew them, the batting, and these little labels. The little labels tell you exactly what size to sew them, so there's no guessing, and they'll fit each one of your mug mats. So the easiest way to demonstrate this for you is I'll just put these aside, and what you're going to do is, I did this from my stash at home, so I don't have a constant fabric running through each one. But if you look at the front here of the pattern and you look at the inside where she shows the different mug mat instructions, you'll see that she's used a common color in here. She's got this flowered one, she's got the orange, the green, the red, and the little bit of rickrack or stripe. So if you want to do this as a set to make them more cohesive, pick a few fabrics and put them in all of them. I chose to make them all different, so just different whatever I had in my stash. So unfortunately, if you like any of these fabrics, I don't have them in the store because they were just bits that I had in my stash left over. So what I'm going to demonstrate for you today is how quickly and easily these sew is a combination of kind of paper piecing, kind of quilt as you go, and kind of sew by numbers. So I'll demonstrate how to make this. So when you open the pattern, you will see that she's got, for each one of the pre-printed battings, here's the first three. Then if you turn this over, this is this one. So you will see for each one of your mats, she tells you what your color is and what size you should cut that piece to fit on here. So I pre-cut all of my little pieces that I'm going to use for this one, and the statement block is the written set that comes inside the package. So that's what the statement block is. It's always the one with the writing. So what she suggests you do is get some 505 spray, which is temporary adhesive spray, and you're going to be sewing and quilting at the same time. So we're going to just put a little bit of 505 spray. She tells you what size to cut the back. So that's my backing, and you're putting it down just like you would when you're layering your quilt for if you're going to be quilting at home. So you've got your right side to your table. Then I'm going to just give this a little bit of 505 spray, and you don't need much because it's just a little mug mat. And then remember to put your batting with the lines up so you can follow the directions. And then we're just going to put this down on our backing, give it a little smooth. Okay, I always like to turn mine over, make sure that I don't have any creases on the back. Okay, so it's that easy, this size, and there's 7 of these in one package. So 7 different mats that are all this size come in one package. So if we follow what she asks us to do, I've cut all of these, and then you'll see she's also got a number, and that number is also on your pre-printed batting. So here's number 1. Now the number 1 doesn't necessarily start at the top, so make sure you follow whatever she's telling you there, make sure you're doing that here. So number 1, and then there's number 2. So these blue lines on every one of the patterns is where you place it, not where you sew it. So this is number 1, and I'm following the instructions there. And you put this right side up, and you're going to put that on the top of number 1, just like that. And then number 2 is the one above it. So this is my number 2, and obviously right sides together to sew. This is a little bigger. I didn't trim my edges off here because I'll trim them when they're done. So then I'm just going to place that on top of that, and I've got them on the blue line. So you can see the edge of my 2 pieces of fabric are right on the blue line, and that is called the placement line. So I've got these lined up. If you want to put a few pins in it, you can. I'm not going to because it's just a short little stitch. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and using a 1/4 inch stitch, just like we do in quilting, I'm going to sew number 1 to number 2. I'll give this a little press, and we'll come back and show you. We've stitched number 1 to number 2, and what you will see is number 2 now runs right along that placement line. So that's what you want. If you've got a little extra, it's okay, because it's going to get buried in the next when you add this piece of fabric. But following the instructions, this goes number 1, number 2, and then she wants you to do number 3 down here. So this is my number 3, and again, this is our placement line here. So we're just going to line that up. We're going to put our number 3 right sides together. We're going to go to the sewing machine. We're going to sew this and come back and show you. So we're back now, and we have sewn on number 3. So then following the instructions, you're just going to go to number 4. Now we're going back up to the top for number 4. So this is my piece for number 4. We'll do the same thing. We'll sew this on. You're going to lie that there using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to put this on the blue placement line, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch in. So I'll go and do this sewing, and we'll be back. We've sewed on number 4, and we're just going to continue to follow the pattern and finish sewing on number 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then once that's done, we're ready to quilt these. So you can see on the 3 that I did for my samples for you, you can see I just did 1/2 inch lines in between. This one I went along there, and then I went at 1/2 inch there. Here I did some crisscrosses. These are all really simple to quilt. If you don't want to put any, because as you're going, you're quilting this, and she says in the pattern, if you don't want to add any more quilting, you don't have to. I wanted to add a little bit more quilting because they're fun little projects. So I just did straight lines, nothing fancy, just a cream color thread, and I just followed the, each one of these blocks. For this little label, because I'd done quilting here, I've also done a little bit of quilting in all of the labels, but I just used white, and I went in between the words, so I'm not stitching through the words with white thread. So each one of my labels is stitched down, 3 or 4 or 5 times. Here I did change my thread. You don't have to. I used some red there. Again, I just followed the triangles. And so if you want to add some quilting, you're free to do this. I used a friction pen, which is a temporary marking pen that erases with steam, to draw my lines. But if you just want to follow the instructions, go all the way down to number 8, and don't do any more quilting, you don't have to. Now, when it comes to the binding, she gives you a suggestion here. That's why this piece is bigger. So once you get all your sewing done and you trim this, and you're going to trim it right to the edge, what she suggests is that you just turn. Now this will be gone, but she suggests you just turn and turn your binding and sew it on that way. I didn't really like that because it's hard to get that even. So I did your typical quilt binding on each one of my samples. If you don't want to, you don't have to. She gives you the instructions in the pattern to do the self-binding, she calls it. Those instructions are in there if you want to do that, or if you want to do what I've done and just do a standard quilt binding. It's less than one strip of fabric, so it doesn't take long at all. So this is a simple project, but everything's done for you. You don't have to worry about, did I get the measurements right? Once you do your cutting, based on the instructions she's given there, you can see that this is a fun and quick and easy project. This would be a really nice little gift with Valentine's Day coming up. If you wanted to do some of these in pinks and reds and whites, or you can add some purple with all of our little quilt sayings in them, and each there's 7 different sayings because there's 7 different pieces of pre-printed batting. This would make a lovely gift for a couple of your quilting friends. So a quick and easy project. Valentine's is a month away. You got more than enough time to get these done. Now I have the mug mats in stock in these, and that's this, which is what I just showed you, Quilt As You Go mug mats. So I've got that in stock. And these are by June Taylor. This is a couple of other things that she's done, similar, but just a little bigger. So this one is Quilt As You Go, sew by the number. Same thing as this, but it's a placemat. So there's batting and pre-printed placemats. There's 6 of them in this little package, together with the instructions on how to put it together. So this again would make a great little project for a Sunday. Once you do your cutting, it's all mapped out for you. You can't go wrong. And along the same lines, she's done a table topper using the same method, sew by number, kind of quilt as you go. And this accompanies this. So if you wanted to do, 4 of these and 1 of those for as a gift or for your own home, there's 6 in this package. And this is 1 table runner that measures 15 wide by 48 long. So pick some fabrics and just have some fun. Quick and easy projects. Your batting's done. This is kind of a pattern and a batting and cutting all in one. So all you need to do is pick some nice fabric for the front and the back. So we've got all of these in stock right now. January is a great time to get a few little, we can think spring or Valentine's, and get some projects done. Thanks.